with another skin condition flare-up. Oh my god, I look like a panda bear today. I don't know what's going on. Me and my wife are stumped. The doctor is stumped. My diet is so fucking simple right now. I'm eating chicken, beef with nothing on it. I'm eating broccoli, I'm eating porridge, I'm eating blueberries, raspberries, avocado. That's my whole diet. That's been like my whole diet for a week. Prawns. Eating prawns in the morning. They're great. And I'm actually welcoming this opportunity, as I've said before, to simplify. To really look at every little corner of my life to try to root out whatever the cause of these skin flare-ups are. We just don't know. I'm going to go see a dermatologist in a little while. But what I want to talk today about is how do we do that kind of simplification? How do we get the bad food, the bad drinks, and all of that stuff out of our lives when we have no other reason? Often we have reasons to go for the bad food and the bad drinks because often we're looking for distraction, aren't we, friends? Often we're looking for distraction from something that we don't like. We don't like how we feel. We don't like the thoughts in our head. We don't like the memories that keep surfacing. Maybe you're dealing with trauma. And as excuses go, that's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one. You got some haunting memories coming up, maybe some nasty childhood stuff. Many people go to the drink, even go to the drugs to distract themselves from those issues. But it is a distraction, friends. We all know that. It is not a solution. What is the solution? The only solution I have ever seen to actually work is to raise your baseline level of satisfaction to the point that you no longer need the distraction. And now this, of course, is going to be easier or harder depending on where you're starting from. If you have a boatload of trauma in the mix, then you're on hard mode, in a way of speaking. There is the possibility that you could be one of those rare individuals who finds a practice or a therapy that works for you and you just burn through that trauma in record time. It has happened, but it's rare. I'm always interested in taking all of the data that we have, the scientific and the anecdotal, to see what's possible for people, right? What's possible? Anecdotal data can tell us what's possible as long as the accounts are reasonable. Then we hear, hey, for example, my cousin who ditched antidepressants after 14 years of use with just a couple of weeks of mindfulness practice. This was only possible because she was ripe. She was ready for that practice to come into her life, having tried everything else. And she finally thought, I'm going to try something really weird. I'm going to try that mindfulness thing everyone keeps talking about. This was a few years back. Mindfulness has become more and more fashionable over these past few years. A little way back before COVID, people would still give me funny looks when I would mention mindfulness to them. So, we need to raise our level of baseline satisfaction. And I'm speaking for most people here, right? A lot of people see videos like this. They hear people talking about this kind of thing. Oh, mindfulness can't be the answer for everyone. I've dealt with this and this and this, so mindfulness can't be the answer for me. Well, maybe. But have you given it a good try? Let's experiment. Let's all experiment on ourselves to see what really works. This is what my cousin did, and she got a great result. If we are determined that something is not going to work or that something can't work before we even give it a shot, well, we're fucked from the beginning, aren't we, friends? So we got to experiment, we got to try. But what I can tell you is that in my experience, from what I've seen looking at this stuff a lot, and indeed my wife's a neuropsychologist, she's working with people who are suffering with addiction all the time, working with people who are looking for distractions from their conditions. All we really ever see is that where someone does the work on themselves, where someone focuses on their well-being first and raises their baseline level of satisfaction, that's what makes the difference. What we're trying to do here is change the cost-benefit equation so that when you look at a beer, it doesn't look the same to you. This happened to me throughout my journey as I raised that level of satisfaction in my life, so that I'm just sat here. Of course, meditation is great training for this, where we literally do the practice of just sitting and learning to be satisfied, just sat here with nothing else going on. As that grew, as I developed in that, I would look at a beer and it no longer looked like a reward. Where it used to look really attractive to me. It looked attractive because I knew that it would change my state. And I didn't like the state that I was in. But once I liked the state that I was in, now I look at the beer and I say, that's going to change my state into something worse, actually. So on a very basic, very simple level, we've changed the cost-benefit equation. So it's no longer even really the same dynamic. Most people, to try to quit their vices, try to use harsh discipline. They try to crack the whip across their own backs to stop themselves going for that thing that they think is bad for them. But here's the problem, they don't feel it's bad for them, because actually in their felt experience, they're already feeling bad, and actually in their experience, the beer is going to make them feel better. So we have to change that equation if we want to make real progress in this, friends. Right? So very, very simple. Meditation is the easiest and quickest way to do this, because if you can learn to be satisfied, just sat here, doing nothing, hearing nothing, seeing nothing, thinking nothing, though that's not the goal. If you persevere, if you let go enough, you will have periods of thoughtlessness. You can't go directly for it. If you do, you'll just stir up more thinking. But if you learn to let go, if you learn to really relax, you will experience periods of thoughtlessness. Can you be okay with that? Can you be okay with not thinking for a minute? Honestly, by the time you get there, you're probably going to be feeling pretty good. But who knows? Who knows what your experience is going to be? I never know what's going to happen for you when you meditate. I can tell you about what's happened for me when I meditate. I can tell you what's happened for my students when my students meditate. We can gather data from, there are now some pretty large studies that have been done on meditation. And of course, we've got thousands of years of anecdotal evidence from monastic communities. But it's interesting, isn't it, friends, that we see different reportage from different cultures. So context is huge in all of this. Yes, all the meditators from Thailand might report some common occurrences within meditation, but then the guys in Japan report something else. If indeed we see, and we do, when we see the commonalities among all cultures, now we know we've got something of real value. For example, when we get still, when we get quiet, when we get out of our own way, when we do this practice enough to really learn to relax, let go of our attachments, accept difficult emotions, difficult memories, difficult thoughts that arise, and accept and accept and accept them again, and just sit in their presence. Let them do whatever it is they're going to do. Then we find we're free. We're okay behind all of that stuff. We don't have to be concerned with it. We don't have to try to change it one little bit, because its nature is to pass. Every thought, every sensation, every experience you've ever had has come and then gone. But you remain. Now I put you in air quotes because it's not the you that you usually take yourself to be, which is some aggregate of the body, the thoughts, the feelings, the memories. But as I just said, all of those come and go, and I know you can confirm this in your own experience. Every sensation of the body you've ever had has come and gone. Every sensation of the mind, the emotions, has come and gone. Everything you have ever called you has come and gone in your direct experience. The image of all of this that we construct into a permanent identity is what we call the ego, who you think you are. That's just more thinking. Behind all of this, through all of this, is a common ingredient. And that ingredient is awareness, which has never been harmed, never been fazed by any of this, never been affected by any of your difficult experiences. And as such, you can take refuge in this awareness. And as you do, indeed, that baseline level of satisfaction will grow. You're no longer perturbed, you're no longer bothered by all of the stuff that's ceaselessly coming and going. It's just like the weather to you. You deal with what arises, kindly, compassionately, and you let it go. This, friends, is the best way that I've ever come across to deal with addiction, to deal with vices. And so I strongly recommend you give it a try. There's some guided meditations on my channel. You can find those anytime, return to them, use them. They will help you raise this baseline level of satisfaction such that that beer, that snack, that pornography, that whatever it is that you find yourself going to for that cheap pleasure to distract yourself, such that it just looks different to you. It's no longer as appealing. And now the battle is won. I'll see you next time.